Hello and welcome to Social Media Weekly, episode 6 May 2020. Social Media Weekly is brought to you by Virtual Palace Marketing, rehumanizing your marketing experience. This week's headlines: WhatsApp upgrades, video chat to 8 participants, Facebook closing in on 3 billion users, Google Meet available to all, LinkedIn Q1 sees 26% growth, Twitter also see gains, Instagram adds new font types to stories, Facebook's moderation centers reopen. Back to the stories. WhatsApp upgrades video chat to 8 participants. This happened in the middle of last week, just right after we made our past Social Media Weekly. It previously could only hold 4 participants. Now it could go up to 8. And it's a very timely feature upgrade given the current demand for video call capabilities. Everybody else is doing the same thing, so why not, right? And WhatsApp says that their video calls are end-to-end encrypted, like their chats. So I'm not sure if they're taking a hit at someone or they're just making sure that everybody knows that they are end-to-end encrypted. So if you are considering using video calls for casual purposes, not necessarily for work, consider WhatsApp. Facebook closing in to 3 billion users. Their platform added 105 million users as of Q1, gained 10% year on year. That's a massive gain considering they thought their growth was actually plateauing, like in 2018, 2019. They thought they were plateauing. Nothing's going to happen. That's why they were like building sideways, going horizontal, coming up with new stuff and services and new functions and features that can entice people to keep using their platform. This massive, so based on their report, daily active users and monthly active users reflect an increase in engagement as people all around the world sought to connect with each other. This is partly a temporary measure because everybody is on lockdown. The entire world is on lockdown. They're either going into or coming out of some form of lockdown or movement restriction, and that has led to a spike in usage. Their main growth, actual growth, actually happened in India, which was where Facebook saw potential a couple of years ago, and they've been trying very hard to get into India, and they can't set a solid foothold into India because no matter what, all the past approaches to get into it seemed as if they were trying to do India a favor, but actually they were not. So in any case, India is a very big and emerging market for all internet companies. Facebook got in there. They acquired a 10% stake in Reliance Jio, which was a telco company, one of the biggest telco companies. And because of that, not because of that actually, it was kind of like one of the reasons why they get in there is because they want to take full advantage of the growth India is having. They see the potential there. And true enough, Facebook does see a lot of growth coming from India. So although the numbers look good, the people at Facebook said they expected ad spending to start declining very soon as companies start to run out of cash. SMBs worldwide are beginning to shutter their doors as well. This is not good. Google Meet available to all. Google is tired of Zoom getting all the limelight despite their subpar security standards. So they're releasing their premium video conferencing platform, Meet, for free until late 2020. Google Meet was previously part of Google's premium corporate service, G Suite. Now, anyone with an email address can register for this service. So you actually, as for now, you need a Gmail account because Google Meet is available through Gmail. You can use the mobile app as well, but you need to register with a Gmail account. So I'm not sure if you can use any other email account to use, but it makes sense to be able to use Gmail, and also primarily because most of us use Gmail anyway. So yeah, I guess it's fine. Meet can handle up to 100 people for 60 minutes. That is a little bit more than Zoom's 40-minute cap on their free tier. Right. So here's the question now, right? Google's Meet, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, they all came up with the free version. why are people still using Zoom? It's not because Zoom is better. One of the reasons why is because Zoom was easier to use. It's not as complicated as Cisco WebEx. It's not as difficult to install and get as Microsoft Teams, because in order to use Microsoft Teams, you need to have Microsoft 365, and you traditionally need to pay for Microsoft 365. So there's like double the barrier. Zoom is the kind of thing where you just go, bam, go in, register, you use, and you leave. There is no attachments to anything else. No quotas for anything, no barriers to entry, and nothing like that. It's very simple. Cisco WebEx is a very, very professional platform, and therefore also a bit more complicated to use, especially with people who are slightly on the older side, who are not very tech savvy. They find it very frustrating to start using. Whereas Zoom, and all three of them, right, Google's Meet, Microsoft Teams, and Cisco WebEx, they're only free for only a limited period. They don't have a free tier in their services. That is a fact. Microsoft says that if you want the free version, go for Skype. And Skype is Skype. Skype is just Skype. It's old, it's clunky, it takes up a lot of bandwidth. There's a lot of things that people don't need in Skype that is there. Google used to have Hangouts, but I don't know whether Google is deciding whether or not to continue having Hangouts or drop Hangouts altogether. I still have Hangouts in my phone and my devices, but I don't think anybody's using Hangouts anymore. And Cisco WebEx, well, there is no free tier for Cisco WebEx, right? Because they are a professionally video conferencing and teleconferencing platform. So whereas Zoom has a free tier, it's a free forever tier where whether or not there is a pandemic, right, you can still get 40 minutes of usage, no questions asked. That is probably the reason why Zoom is everyone's go-to conferencing platform. It's not so much as during this time we use it, and then when the pandemic is over and when everyone else retracts their free tier, then we have to go look for another one. Whereas for Zoom, even if they retract their free tier, we will still be able to use Zoom because Zoom's free tier is free forever. So that's to you, Google, Microsoft, and Cisco. This is why people are using Zoom. LinkedIn Q1 sees 26% growth. The platform gained 690 million total users this quarter. The revenue also grew by 21%. Overall, the company said there are more active users on this platform than ever before, which is good news. However, the bad news is the company also predicts that revenue will drop due to slowing ad spend and recruitments on the platform. LinkedIn makes a lot of money through subscriptions, a lot more through subscriptions than through ads. So one of the subscription model platform is for recruiters to actually search for new hires and everything. So when companies are recruiting less, then they will probably stop their services temporarily, at least until the pandemic is over, where companies can move forward again. So that is a major issue for LinkedIn. Ad spend is also due to decrease because a lot of companies are starting to cut their spending. You see, the thing here is, right, in the very beginning of this, the very early stage of this pandemic, everybody thought that it would come and go very fast, very soon. A lot of not very educated world leaders actually gave us painted a very beautiful picture that says that by mid-year or Q3 of this year, everything will blow over and business will be as usual. So based on that estimate, a lot of businesses are more aggressive in marketing and pushing their brands during the lockdown periods or what we call the movement control order here in Malaysia. It's a very temporary thing, and once it's over, everybody will come out and start spending like usual again. So that's why they were all spending a lot. They're pushing very hard, they're very aggressive. But as things starts to prolong, what happens is businesses are starting to say that, okay, you know what, we're spending too much, we're not making money, and there is no projection that can prove or can properly predict that spending will be back to normal in the next 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 months. There are, however, new economists, new forecast by economists that says that there could be multiple waves constantly recurring, each wave at least 10 times more dramatic than the last, until a vaccine and cure is globally available. Not just available in 1 or 2 places, but globally available, or that we obtain herd immunity. You see, the problem with lockdown is that lockdown prevents herd immunity, so herd immunity is out of the question, right? So now we're only hoping for vaccine and cure to happen. And as soon as that is not globally available, it will keep coming back. And as long as it keeps coming back, we will keep having this problem where people will probably be out of jobs, businesses will close down, and the big ones that can survive will have a really tough time. Twitter also gains users. The platform has also seen a major jump in active users, adding 14 million to a total of 166 million users. And similar to Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter also thinks ad spend will start declining in the coming months due to prolonged COVID lockdowns. Instagram adds new font types to stories. Using a lot of Instagram stories, are we? Yes, I have been. Here's the good news for you. They're releasing a bunch of new font types that will make your stories less boring. New font types and new little sticker things. They're called banners and backgrounds. Yeah, backgrounds for the fonts. I think there's in total about 10 at this point. They actually look a lot like what Canva has. These bunch of little, those kind of hipster fonts that we used to see a few years ago. Yeah, those stuff. Instagram is very late in the game, but they're doing it because they need to do it now because everybody's using Instagram stories a lot, and they thought that they should spice things up a little bit. But, well, better late than never. So, knowing Instagram, chances of us being able to see the type fonts coming soon will be very sporadic. You can have someone next to you on the same mobile device, on the same update for mobile update and app update, and you will not be able to see the same fonts. This is how Instagram works. They actually release batch by batch regardless of updates or regardless of firmware, and you get it when you get it. That's just what I have to say. Facebook's moderation centers reopen. 2 weeks ago, we talked about Facebook's intention to reopen their moderation centers ahead of time. The AIs are not handling the increased traffic of misinformation properly, and humans need to go in and get them sorted out. Just late last week, they got the green light, but employees' participation is on a voluntary basis. So rest assured, Facebook's misinformation policing is doing a better job right now than before. And not to say you will definitely not have any misinformation. So we still have to be very vigilant when going through Facebook with all the misinformation and all the information that we see. Make sure the links are correct, the sites are correct, everything is right before we share it. That is just something that we all have to do. It's our responsibility. Alright, that's all for Social Media Weekly this week. Social Media Weekly podcast is available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Social Media Weekly episode 6 May 2020. My name is Sean. Stay safe. Bye-bye.